Have you ever heard someone teach the Bible in a way that makes the entire story of Scripture suddenly connect? From Genesis all the way to Revelation? That is exactly what Nancy Guthrie has been doing for years. Nancy Guthrie is not just a Bible teacher. She is a trusted voice in biblical theology, an author of multiple Christ-centered books, and a speaker who has impacted thousands of women around the world. Based in Franklin, Tennessee, she teaches at Cornerstone Presbyterian Church and regularly leads conferences, including her well-known Biblical Theology Workshop for Women. But her influence didn't begin on large stages or through best-selling books. Nancy was born in Kansas City, Missouri. Over time, she pursued theological education and earned a Master of Arts in Theological Studies from Reformed Theological Seminary. Her passion has always been helping people see the grand storyline of Scripture, not as disconnected stories, but as one unified message pointing to Jesus Christ. One of her most impactful contributions to Christian teaching is her Seeing Jesus in the Old Testament series. Many believers struggle with understanding the Old Testament, the laws, the prophets, the historical narratives. Nancy helps readers trace the thread of redemption that runs throughout the entire Bible. She teaches that every part of Scripture ultimately points to Christ. Her teaching style is clear, thoughtful, and deeply rooted in biblical theology. Instead of focusing only on isolated verses, she asks bigger questions. How does this passage fit into God's redemptive plan? How does this reveal the character of God? How does this point to Jesus? In addition to writing and speaking, Nancy is also widely known for her podcast work with the Gospel Coalition. She hosts Help Me Teach the Bible and Conversations on the Bible, where she interviews pastors, scholars, and theologians about understanding Scripture deeply and teaching it faithfully. These podcasts have become valuable resources for teachers, church leaders, and serious Bible students. But Nancy Guthrie's ministry is not shaped by theology alone. It is also shaped by suffering. She and her husband David experienced the heartbreaking loss of 2 children. Out of that deep personal grief, Nancy developed a compassionate ministry to others walking through suffering. Together, she and her husband founded respite retreats for couples who have lost children. These retreats provide space for grieving parents to process their sorrow through the lens of biblical hope. Nancy has also contributed to Grief Share, a widely used grief recovery program in churches across the world. Her book, Holding On to Hope, reflects her personal journey through loss and her unwavering trust in God's sovereignty, even in the darkest seasons. What makes Nancy Guthrie unique is the balance she brings, theological depth combined with pastoral tenderness. She does not present faith as shallow optimism. Instead, she acknowledges pain, questions, and doubt while pointing consistently back to the promises of Scripture. Her conferences, especially the Biblical Theology Workshop for Women, have equipped thousands to read and teach the Bible responsibly. She encourages women not just to consume devotional material, but to study the Bible deeply, contextually, and with confidence. In a time when biblical literacy is declining in many places, Nancy's voice stands out as steady, grounded, and Christ-centered. Her work reminds believers that the Bible is not primarily about us. It is about God's redemptive work accomplished through Jesus Christ. Whether through her books, her podcasts, her conference teaching, or her ministry to grieving families, Nancy Guthrie continues to shape conversations about how Christians understand and teach Scripture. Her message is simple but powerful. The whole Bible tells one story, and that story leads to Jesus. And that is why her influence continues to grow.